They say every old house has its secrets, but the one at the end of Blackwood Lane, well, its secret is in the bathroom. Not just any bathroom. We're talking about the one on the top floor, the one nobody has used in over 50 years, the one they call the Weeping Room. Locals whisper stories about it, tales that will make your skin crawl. They say if you stand outside the door late at night, you can hear the faint, steady drip, drip. Drip of a faucet that's been rusted shut for decades. But that's not the sound that freezes your blood. It's the other sound. A soft, mournful sigh that seems to come from the very walls themselves. The house was built in the late 1800s by a wealthy industrialist named Alastair Finch. He was a man known for his cold demeanor and even colder business practices. He had a daughter, Elara, who was said to be the complete opposite, a vibrant, gentle soul who loved to paint. But Elara was frail, her health a constant source of worry. The story goes that she fell in love with a stable hand, a young man her father deemed utterly unsuitable. Alastair forbade the relationship, locking Elara away in her suite of rooms, which included that fateful bathroom. Now, this wasn't just any bathroom. Alastair, in his opulent fashion, had imported the finest Italian marble, a grand claw-footed tub, and a series of ornate floor-to-ceiling mirrors. He believed that surrounding his daughter with beauty would somehow make her forget her forbidden love, but it had the opposite effect. For Elara, those mirrors weren't a reflection of beauty. They were a reflection of her gilded cage. Every angle showed her own pale, sad face, a constant reminder of her imprisonment. She spent hours in that room, staring at her own reflection, her spirit slowly fading. One stormy night, the story takes its darkest turn. The details are murky, lost to whispers and time. Some say she finally succumbed to her illness, her heart giving out from grief. Others tell a more chilling version. They say she couldn't bear the isolation any longer, that she looked into those mirrors one last time, not seeing herself, but a future devoid of love and freedom. What happened next is the source of the legend. Her father found her the next morning, and from that day forward, the room was sealed. Now, here's where my story begins. A few years ago, a group of urban explorers, let's call them the Night Watchers, decided to investigate the legends of the Finch Mansion. They were skeptical, armed with cameras and EMF meters, ready to debunk the local folklore. They documented their entire journey, which is how we know what happened. They found the house surprisingly easy to enter. The front door unlocked as if inviting them in. They explored the dusty, cobweb-covered ground floor, finding nothing but decay. The first floor was the same, but as they climbed the grand, creaking staircase to the top floor, the air grew heavy, and a profound sense of sadness washed over them. They found the door to the Weeping Room. It was thick, solid oak with a tarnished brass keyhole. Unlike the other doors, this one was locked tight. It took two of them to shoulder it open, the sound of splintering wood echoing through the silent house. The moment the door swung inward, all their equipment went haywire. EMF meters screamed, camera batteries instantly drained, and the temperature dropped so dramatically they could see their breath. And the smell. They described it as a strange mix of old, stagnant water and the faint, sweet scent of lavender, which was said to be Alara's favorite. The bathroom was a scene frozen in time. A thick layer of dust coated everything, but beneath it, the marble and brass still held a hint of their former glory. The claw-footed tub sat in the center of the room like a porcelain coffin, but it was the mirrors that captured their attention. All of them manned, there were at least a dozen, were covered in a strange black mold, spreading from the edges like creeping veins. All except for one. The largest mirror, directly across from the tub, was perfectly, unnervingly clear. As they stood there, filming with their one remaining camera, one of the explorers, a guy named Mike, made a mistake. He stepped closer to the clean mirror to get a better shot of his own reflection. The moment his image appeared in the glass, the soft sigh they'd heard about filled the room. It wasn't just a sound. They said they could feel it. A wave of cold sorrow that made their chests ache. Mike froze, his eyes wide. In the mirror, his reflection began to change. It wasn't just him anymore. Standing behind his reflection, a faint, shimmering figure started to form. It was a young woman, her form translucent, wearing a hicolade white dress from another era. Her face was beautiful, but etched with an unbearable sadness. Her eyes, dark pools of despair, were fixed on him. But it was what was happening to her in the reflection that was truly terrifying. Her ethereal form was slowly, almost gracefully, lifting off the ground. A faint, shimmering line appeared around her neck, as if an invisible rope were pulling her upward. Her feet dangled just above the reflected floor. She wasn't looking at Mike, she was looking through him, her silent scream trapped behind the glass. The other explorers tried to pull Mike away, but he was paralyzed, captivated by the horrific scene in the mirror. He said later that he could hear her thoughts in his mind, not words, but feelings, overwhelming grief, a sense of betrayal, and the crushing weight of loneliness. The figure in the mirror, Alara, wasn't a malicious spirit. She was a memory, an emotional echo trapped in the room where her heart was broken. Forced to relive her final moments in an endless loop for anyone who dared to look into her prison. She wasn't hanging in the bathroom. She was hanging in the reflection, a ghost in the glass. They finally managed to drag Mike out of the room, slamming the splintered door shut behind them. They fled the house and never looked back. The footage they captured is shaky and distorted, but if you look closely, for just a few frames, you can see it. A face in the mirror that isn't supposed to be there. The legend of the Weeping Room had a new chapter. It's not about a ghost that will harm you, but one that will show you the deepest despair a soul can endure. Some say that if you look into that mirror, you don't just see her, you feel what she felt. And that feeling, that absolute hopelessness, is a ghost that will follow you home. So, if you ever find yourself on Blackwood Lane and you see that old decaying mansion, maybe think twice before stepping inside. And if you're brave enough to climb to the top floor, whatever you do, don't look in the mirror. Some reflections are best left unseen. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the shadows. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Tales from the Dark. Stay safe and always check your reflection. You never know who might be looking back.